This is a tutorial showing how to digitally distort images within Photoshop and Audacity. So firstly, we're going to be saving our Photoshop file. It's going to be saved as a TIFF file, which will be made to make the file openable in Audacity. As you can't open PNG, JPEG, and other photo files within Audacity. It's a very complicated software. So now that we're in Audacity, we're going to go to File, Import, and then we're going to select the Raw Data option. This is so we can get all of our photos that are saved as TIFF files open. So now that we've got our file ready to go, we're going to change our encoding setting to ULAW. This means that we can then distort the image, we can make certain adjustments to it through this. All of the other stuff stays generally the same, and then we can go import. It'll take a few seconds just to read the data. And then now we have the file open. It's important when we're editing the file that we don't select. So generally I will leave a few, maybe 2 or 3 seconds just to each side, as that's so that the corners don't get distorted. It can just ruin the image ever so slightly. And then we're going to go to our effects section. So for this particular edit I chose to go for the distortion setting. As you'll see a bit later on, the distortion effect isn't actually one of the most effective at distorting. I know it sounds silly, but some of them do work better than others. Obviously, you have to experiment and play around a lot. You can't view the files until you've saved them, so it does take a few moments just to try and make sure you obviously get the distorted outcome that you're looking for. So now that that's all done, we're going to go to Export Selected Audio. You can also do this just through export audio, it doesn't really matter. Obviously you've got to have it selected if you're doing export selected audio. So then you're going to make sure that it's set to other uncompressed files. And then once you've done that, you're going to make sure that your header is set to raw. And your encoding obviously will stay at ULAW, as that's what you set it previously. Depending on the effect that you use to distort the image, it can take a little while. So obviously here we're looking at about 2 minutes per photo that you're editing. I'll speed the video up, obviously, so you don't have to sit through and watch this. So now that our file is exported into the location that we left it, we're going to go through and open Paint. So now that we're in Paint, we're going to go ahead and open our file that we previously saved. We need to make sure that all picture files are set to all files so that our raw file shows up. We're then going to open that, we can zoom out a bit, and then we get our distorted image. As you can see, this is not quite the effect that we were looking for. So what we're going to do now is we're going to return back to Audacity, where they're going to select the whole file, and we're going to use a different effect. So for this one I'm going to use the reverb effect. When I was experimenting with Audacity and distortion previously, I found that reverb was a very good effect to use. It gives like a very discolored effect to the image, and it shows off a real hard distortion effect. Again, as we're re-distorting the image, we're going to have to wait a little while for the export to happen, for the changes to happen, and then we're going to go ahead and again and do our export audio, and then we're going to do it back to the selection. For this one, I have replaced the file, as we're literally only adding an effect. If you want to keep the original, and then you want to have your new image, then you can do it in a separate file, but obviously, just for demonstration purposes, we're going to replace this one. So now that we're back up and running again, we're going to go back to our Paint. We can literally follow the exact same process we did earlier in the video, where we're going to go to File, Open, and we're literally going to be opening the same file that we just opened. Obviously, we are going to have a different effect here. And there we go, you can see there's a much clearer effect now that we've used the reverb tool, rather than just the distortion tool. So you can see obviously the different vibrant colours and other stuff. So there we have our final image. That is how to digitally distort images in Audacity. Thank you very much for watching.